Ryan, you were supposed to sing. That was the deal. You were supposed to sing in Jay's absence. Why didn't you sing?
You got the wrong guy. You got the wrong guy. And I haven't had enough to drink this morning yet. So that's probably not going to happen right now.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Geeks and Gamers Daily. I have hardly any voice. I've been doing like 4 streams a day since I got back. I think I've streamed about 12 hours a day since I've been back, and my voice is almost gone. So I don't know if it's going to hold up for this whole stream or not. I was up until like 3:30 or 4 o'clock last night streaming. So we'll see what happens. But you know, luckily we got Ryan here, and he can hold it down if my voice goes away. But how you doing, Ryan? Back from your trip as well. You had a good weekend.
Yeah, I was fucking tired yesterday, but it was good to get back to the grind, pump some videos out. I just did not have the time. But Arizona was awesome.
Yeah.
AmFest was pretty incredible. So met a lot of really cool people, met a lot of fans there as well. I gotta watch myself when I'm going to those things because I wasn't even in the place yet. I was at the airport. I just arrived at the airport, hadn't even got to my hotel or anything. And I had some guys come up to me and I'm like, man, I could have been like picking my nose or some shit. You know, who the fuck knows what I could have been doing? So
I heard that. I heard
careful.
that. That's cool, man. Yeah, like you had a good time and, you know, made some good contacts. And dude, man, they're doing good stuff. They're doing good stuff. You know, Turning Point is. So I've been to a couple of their events and man, it looked like a lot of fun. And I'll be on, I know you're hanging out with Chrissy a lot. So next Thursday, a week from today, as soon as Daily ends, going right in to my interview with Chrissy Mayer over on her channel. So we'll talk more about that for sure. But yeah, so there's a lot going on. Aquaman releases today. I just watched Jeremy John's review of it. He literally, his cold opening was, The Flash was better. That's what he started out with. He said Flash was better. Flash was a more coherent movie. I'm like, oh my God.
I've heard.
Oof.
All right. So this is what I've heard. We finally get the Aquaman Rotten Tomatoes numbers. They are not great.
No.
It seems like there's a reason. Whenever you see these people like hold the reviews until the last possible second, because that's what happened, right?
Yeah.
Like they held reviews until today. Like today is the first time that they would allow the critics to actually go out there and review Aquaman. There's a reason for that. And this tweet is getting a lot of interaction today from the Hollywood Handle. Aquaman and Lost Kingdom debuts with a 36% score on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, since that's been posted, it's bumped up to a 37 right there. Again, listen, critics are critics. I don't know how the critics felt about the first one. If I had to guess, the first one was probably like a 50 or 60, you know?
No, I think the first one probably did better. I'd look it up because it was that one felt more like a MCU movie at the time. You know what I mean? I would imagine that one. I'm not saying it's in the 90s or anything, but I would imagine it's got a positive rating. Maybe I'm wrong, but
65%. So, like I said,
okay.
right around there. So it wasn't like wasn't like they loved it or anything.
Okay.
But what I have heard is that it's just really dumb, and there's just a ton of stuff going on all the time. It's about everything you could throw into this thing, whether it's like comedy, over the top, cheesy stuff, whatever, and that you're not bored during it. You're entertained by it. And if you're okay with just kind of like laughing at a dumpster fire and willing to go in there and have fun with it, then you can actually have some fun with this movie. It's better than the Marvels, but I don't know if it's better than the Flash for some people, including I guess Jeremy Johns apparently.
I still feel like this movie's definitely going to do more than the Marvels. Just from a star power standpoint of Jason Momoa. But as we've heard, Amber Heard is in this movie a lot more than they were letting on. And there's some deceptive marketing going on with that. Very deceptive marketing. How much is she in the movie from what we've heard? Because I know you guys talked about that last week.
I think she's in it for like, you know, screen time, maybe somewhere like 15 minutes of screen time, maybe. But for the most part, she doesn't have a lot of important dialogue from what we understand. But she is in the movie, though. And there's a couple clips running out there of, you know, like some fight scenes and things like that. But certainly if you just watch the marketing for the movie, now it's not like they told us that she wouldn't be in it, but clearly they were hiding her, right? Yeah. Warner Bros. Doing their best to hide her. A couple other things to think about with this movie. They have they're not doing any like red carpet premiere. They're not doing any big cast party. It's literally just Jason Momoa and James Wan going to a couple different fan events.
That's
That's it.
wild.
They've completely given up on this thing. Whether that's because they just don't want, Amber Heard anywhere around, or whether maybe they don't have the money to put on these events because Warner Brothers Discovery has, had some issues lately. But
Yeah, it's crazy. So we've had $2 billion movies that or two sequels to $2 billion movies that have released this year. Obviously, Captain Marvel barely broke $200 million. Which what did the first Captain Marvel do? I keep asking this. I can't remember. Is it 1.2? Something like that.
um,
1.1, 1.2.
over a billion. I don't know if they hit
Yeah.
1.1, but yeah.
And so I mean, it nearly lost $1 billion from like this, the biggest drop off I've ever seen from any movie. This one could come close to either matching that number. I don't think it's gonna beat that number. I don't remember though. I don't remember what Aquaman did. Maybe Aquaman did like 1.3. I'm not sure,
They were
but
both around 1.1, somewhere around there. Yeah.
okay. And so yeah, with Aquaman, you're gonna have a similar drop off. And again, it's for completely different reasons. Completely different reasons, and none of which I believe has anything to do with superhero fatigue. I think it has more to do with bad movie fatigue and bad management and bad leadership. One of them is due to wokeness and identity politics, meaning Marvel and the MCU, whereas DC just has no clear vision whatsoever. There's no clear vision. No one knows what's going on. I feel like James Gunn, as much as I am a fan of James Gunn's movies, I feel like James Gunn has done terrible damage to the DC movies from a fan standpoint, the hardcore fan standpoint. You know what I mean? Just by talking and tweeting and running his mouth, and just why won't he just shut the fuck up on social media? You were hired for the job. Great. You didn't need to tweet and address rumors and debunk rumors and talk about just shut the fuck up and let this thing just pass over. Work on your Superman movie. I am still looking forward to Superman Legacy just because I've enjoyed so many of his previous movies, but I think James Gunn's done damage from a fan standpoint, not the normies, because the normies don't pay attention to that. You know what I mean? But when you're hurting the hardcore fans, it's going to have an effect on everything else. So I don't know, man. This movie's DOA. It's DOA.
Yeah, I think because it is releasing over Christmas, I think it has a shot to, have better legs and stuff like that than the Marvels does potentially. But yeah, either way, with a reported budget around $225 million, we don't know what the reshoots cost. We don't know if that's the final budget on that. You're still looking at something that's going to have to break 650, maybe 700 million to break even. Maybe less because I don't know how much marketing they really spent on it if it's normal for them, but it's going to be another loss. This is officially the end of the DCEU, even though it died quite some time ago.
Yep. And I'm happy to see it go. I'm happy to see the DC EU or whatever you want to call it, the DC Cinematic Universe. I'm happy to see it go because I've disliked most of the movies in it. Some of them I've enjoyed, but most of them I've hated. And so I'm glad for us to move on from that era completely. In a lot of ways, not that I was ever the biggest fan of the MCU. I've enjoyed certain elements of the MCU, but I like the MCU far more than the DC Cinematic Universe, far more. And it's not even close, actually.
Well, I
I
mean, the
just
first two phases of the MCU are, really solid. You know what I
yes,
mean?
yes.
There's a couple, a couple misses there, but for the most part, very solid. Phase 3, you get a little bit more misses to me, but obviously it culminates with Infinity War and Endgame. And even though Endgame had its problems in terms of like a moment, in terms of like a cultural moment, man, I don't know if we're gonna see anything like that again, at least for a long time,
Mhm.
especially the way like theatrical stuff is going right now.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. But we will see what happens with Aquaman, starting off very with, well, it's been dealing with bad vibes, and now you've got the reviews coming out, and it doesn't seem like people are enjoying it. It seems like it's just going to be a dumb movie. That if you want to turn your brain off, you might can have some fun, but then you've got Amber Heard running around in the movie, so maybe that's going to affect your enjoyment. I think this movie's, I think two, I'd say 300 million, 300 to 400 million is probably the ceiling for this movie worldwide. 3 to 400 million is probably the ceiling. What'd Jay say? Jay said 450, right?
He initially gave it pretty high, but I think he's saying, well, it looks like I'm wrong on that. So
Okay. All right. So that's the latest on Aquaman, and everybody is excited to not see it, apparently. So yeah, there we go. All right, we got a few super chats, and there's a lot of movies that are, or a lot of stuff to talk about actually. Still, Tomac getting a D-Day code or a Geeks and Gamers membership. Thank you. Tupac's baby leg says, "Baby got back." LOL. Zeke the Wise says, "Morning, Jeremy and Ryan." Hail the 199. Beardo's reading comprehension. Hail from my new work truck. It's a beast. Rah. Hell yeah, man. That's awesome. Drive safe out there. Linko Kenobi for 10 says, "What's up, Jeremy? I finished last night's Cobra Cast and it was ridiculous. So what's happening? Love you guys. Hail the 199. Looking forward to seeing you at MegaCon." Thank you, Linko Kenobi. Lover of Green. Hail the fellowship. On the Geeks and Gamers Discord, I started a new thread called MCU Fan versus the World. It's an archive of memes related to him and Krista. The thread is welcome to all memers 199 for life. Hell yes, lover of green. Appreciate that. You guys having a lot of fun over there in the Geeks and Gamers Discord, man. It's funny as hell to see. But yeah, so we've got Rebel Moon's coming out tonight on Netflix. We've got the Iron Claw this releasing. Obviously, I'm really excited for the Iron Claw, and I anticipate the Iron Claw for me might become my movie of the year. That's the expectations I have on this movie. Now, I don't expect to enjoy this movie. I think it's gonna be a depressing, a sad movie. But I'm really excited. I know Chris Gore told me he really, really enjoyed it. I haven't heard Alan's take. I know Alan's a wrestling fan. Has Alan seen it yet? I haven't seen an update on if Alan has seen it.
I'm not sure. Not sure. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff to watch tonight. I need to watch Aquaman tonight, and I need to watch the next episode of Reacher is coming out. So me and Gary do a reaction stream of that. So I need to watch that. I'll probably try to do Iron Claw over the weekend at some point. Because it does look good, even though I'm not as invested in it as you and some big wrestling fans are. I still want to watch it because it looks good.
Well, I mean,
Reacher, man, Reacher, its first 3 episodes that came out, or it's already at a 50% increase in its audience over what it got in the first season, which the first season was a record breaker for Prime Video. It's already like its most streamed thing of 2023. Releasing 3 episodes, and it's going to release 1 episode each subsequent week. So
yeah, everybody's enjoying
huge.
Reacher, and I think what's his name? Alan
Richson.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to become a pretty big star. He just has the look and everything. I hope he'll just shut the fuck up. That's all I care about with this guy. He just shuts up because outside of Reacher, what's he been in?
Blue Mountain State. Okay. He was in Titans.
I know Cole Hauser said that he would make a great Duke for G.I. Joe. That would be fantastic.
He'd make a good Captain America. Like,
yeah.
like just like we really would. Yeah, you could see him in a lot of roles.
Yeah. So he's
Aquaman. He would be a real looking Aquaman. Somebody said in the chat. That's a good one too.
He actually would be yeah. I think this guy's probably gonna be set up for being a big star. I mean, I don't think he's, from the little bit I've seen, I don't think he's like a great actor, but he's got great screen presence. You know what I mean? He just has a huge presence on screen. You know what I mean? And I mean, I'm saying he's not Denzel level from what I've seen.
He's fine. He's good in certain roles. You know what I mean? Reacher is a really, really good role for him. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh wait, Richardson was Aquaman in Smallville. I didn't watch all of Smallville.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that was him. My God, he looks so young.
Pulled that up.
He looks so young there. He looks so different, even when he was in Blue Mountain State.
Are you pulling it up?
Oh my God, he looks so different now.
Pull it up.
Yeah, hold on. Arthur Curry, Smallville. Let me see if I can get a good image of it.
So are you saying that he's a better Reacher than Tom Cruise?
100%.
I like the Jack Reacher movie. Holy crap. He does look different. God.
Let's see. Smallville is crazy, man. Smallville is fun. See if I can get a little bit bigger. It's kind of a shitty, but yeah, there he is.
Yeah.
Looks a little different now, doesn't he? I didn't
Looks a
even know that
little
was
different,
him.
so that's funny. That's funny. Yeah, I think he's going to be a pretty big name moving forward for sure. So, but yeah, so you got that. You got Iron Claw. You got Reacher start. It comes out tonight, right? Is that
The
tonight?
4th episode comes out
Oh,
tonight, every
yeah.
Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Rebel Moon dropping. You told me at 10 p.m. our time. So there's a lot. There's a lot to work in right now. But Iron Claw, I think, will be fantastic, and we will see. And I don't know, Zac Efron, his could be a breakout role for him. Although he's doing it, dude. Every comment I see online with Zac Efron is people going, "What the hell happened to your face?"
I know, right?
I mean, it's everybody is asking that question. What happened to your face, bro? My headphones are janky right now. I can only hear you in one of my ears right now. But yeah, that's I don't know if I believe that, Steph. I know that's the narrative that he broke his jaw. I'm not sure I believe that. It just seems like he's doing work. I mean, he looks weird. He looks a little weird. But hey, it is what it is, man. Hopefully, I've always liked him as an actor. I think he's a really good actor, and this could kind of propel him to another level. We'll see what everybody seems to think about the Iron Claw. I don't think the Iron Claw is going to do like massive box office numbers or anything. It's a very it's going to probably run under the radar. Word of mouth may carry it, but we will see. Let's see.
We got to talk real quick about this big story that came out yesterday in Hollywood. We've been talking for a while about all these studios struggling. It's not just Disney; it's a lot of people that are struggling, especially as streaming has continued to be kind of a big failure. And it looks like Discovery with some bankruptcy rumors out, or Warner Brothers Discovery with some bankruptcy rumors out there, and having just done a merger a few years ago, it looks like they're already trying to make moves to try to survive. Warner Brothers Discovery and Paramount Global in merger talks.
Oh boy.
This is two companies that are both struggling in streaming and stuff like that as well, that might out of necessity try to band together. And, when these mergers happen, you end up seeing a lot of layoffs, see a lot of cost cutting, you see a lot of tax write-offs and stuff like that. That might be their strategy going forward. Warner Brothers Discovery and Paramount Global have held talks about a potential merger of the two media companies, Variety has confirmed. Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav met with Paramount Global CEO in a lunch meeting Tuesday where they discussed a possible merger. Reps declined to comment. Let's see. As of the end of quarter 3, Paramount reported long-term debt of $15 billion, considerably less than Warner Brothers, whose debt is at $43 billion. But in terms of market cap, Warner Brothers Discovery has a market cap of $28 billion. Paramount only has $10 billion. So obviously, you could look at potentially combining their streaming services. You'd get a lot of different IPs from Paramount that Paramount has. But I mean, to me, it's something that they're doing out of desperation to both try to survive in this changed Hollywood environment.
How did Warner Brothers end up in this position? I don't understand how they've ended up in this position because they have been a massive studio for so long, and they've made that like they've been at the top of the box office for as long as I can remember over the years. Obviously, the last few years have been pretty rough for them, but I don't know how they've ended up in this position. Do we know the details as to how they've ended up in such debt? Has it been
Well, it's been this way for for a long fucking time. When they AT&T parted ways with them because of their debt. That's when they merged with Discovery. What was that, 2 years ago? And not that long ago, maybe 3, and maybe it just got cleared a year or 2 ago. But yeah, so I don't know exactly what the case was, but they have a lot of debt, and they have paid down some of it, over the last couple of years, but not nearly enough. And then when you have, the box office success of Barbie can't counteract the box office disasters of The Flash, all the DC stuff that's flopped for them lately.
Yeah, I mean, this is I don't know, man. I mean, it feels like Warner Brothers is going to get bought by somebody at some point in time, just scooped up. I mean, there's weight. If you're a business,
but you got to scoop $50 billion in debt.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like it just like anything else in life, like if you're actually looking at the long-term benefits of it, you have the properties of some of those iconic characters of all time with that. Like you're going to be able, if you have that right vision, you're owning Batman and Superman. You know what I mean? And I know that's not just isolated. There's so much more that comes along with it. But again, it's like we always talk about. These are layups. These are easy things to do if you have the right people in place. You can make a ton of money. Batman and Superman are characters and brands that will last well beyond when we're gone. These are characters that are going to matter for longer than any of us are going to be alive. If you do them the right way, they're always going to be culturally relevant. They're always going to be out there. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more that goes along with it, but you have to look at the long-term benefits of that. And so this Harry Potter, do they own that? So they have the film rights to Harry Potter,
Yeah.
right? Lord of the Rings, they have the film rights to Lord of the Rings still.
Ooh, I don't know. They do put some of this stuff. They do, yeah. The Warner Brothers stable includes DC Extended Universe films, Harry Potter, and Lord of the Rings movie franchises.
Dude. So I mean, so you have access to this type of stuff, man. I'm telling you, somebody with a vision could buy this up. A group of people could buy this up, and this could be a massive success long term, 10-year, plan. That's what a lot of these investors do. They buy things up that are struggling, that have debt, and they have like a 10-year plan to maximize that. You could 1000% do that. Harry Potter's always going to be relevant. Lord of the Rings always going to be relevant, and obviously your DC heroes, along with all the other stuff that Warner Brothers has. It's a massive, massive opportunity for somebody. So I feel like that's going to happen.
I mean that happened a couple of years ago, right? Like that happened for AT&T. Like AT&T bought them in like I don't know, 10 years ago or something for like a shit ton of fucking money. And a couple years later, they bounced out of that deal. Warner Brothers merges with Discovery instead. AT&T sold them off basically.
Yeah. Man, I don't know. It's weird to me that they're still in this position, and with all of the opportunities that they have. Why wouldn't you? What's the plan with Harry Potter? Aren't they rebooting the Harry Potter with like a TV show now?
They're doing one on streaming. Yeah, they're gonna do like 7 seasons or whatever.
I guess I don't know. Interesting, but yes, with this, I mean, I don't think this is going to fix you got two failing brands merging together to fail even more. I don't see how this is going to be beneficial right now. But yeah, it's I guess just keep doing what you're doing, Warner Brothers. It's working great, I guess, for you. This whole situation with Hollywood and these studios and all the money they have coming in, for years and years and years, whether it was Disney, whether it was Warner Brothers, we kept hearing people that would defend these decisions, just be like, well, these movies made X amount of money, they're doing great. No, they're not. And Warner Brothers could be a cautionary tale of what could be happening with Disney in the next 5 to 10 years if they continue on the path that they're on. It's hard to believe that Disney could be in this position, but it's also hard to believe that Warner Brothers continues to stay in this position. So I guess we will see.
Yeah, we'll see if it happens. We'll see if government authorities let it happen.
Maybe Ripple will buy it.
Well, he's gonna have to sell a lot more ISOM. Yeah.
Oh man, but what a story! A failing company merging with another failing company in order to find success.
Yeah, desperate.
Bold move right there. But guess we'll see how it all plays out. So
just jack off for 5. I watched this cheesy horror movie yesterday called The Mean One. Super cheesy, but maybe check it out. Thank you.
Okay, noted.
Goji the King, welcome to the channel as a member. Tobias next for 5. Gunn seems like he's trying the Disney strategy with the WB crowd. He didn't change strategies for a different group. And Knock Mama, member for 9 months. Seeing as how Gary's writing a book, I assume Jeremy's going to write one too. I've got a title for you. Ripped Jeans and Ripped Assholes, the Ballad of D-Day Cobra. Go.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Taker for 2. Hey, guys, do we have a release date for Joker 2? I have no idea. Patrick Kelly for 5. Did Marvel Fall start with Ike Perlmutter like Perlmutter was against woke? I think the more that Kevin Feige consolidated specific power and got rid of anybody else who like was part of like the building of the MCU, the worse it got, it seems to me.
I mean, it really comes down to the more, and this is kind of applies to everything. The more successful something becomes, the more in danger it becomes of being, you know, utilized for propaganda. You know what I mean? Like the MCU's the best thing that happened to the MCU is also the worst thing that happened to the MCU. It became a massive phenomenon that we've never seen. And once it hit that massive phenomenon stage, that's when the people that are obsessed with identity politics and propaganda and wokeness, that's when they become the most interested in it because it's popular and it has a massive platform. Um, you notice how they're not really interested in Star Wars anymore, that group of people, because Star Wars is so irrelevant right now that they don't care. They're not interested in it. They were interested in it when it was The Force Awakens, when it was hitting $2 billion. They were interested in that, but now suddenly there's the pronouns and bio crowd not overly interested in Star Wars these days because it doesn't have this same impact that it did. So the more successful something becomes, the more it's in danger of being ruined, like the MCU was. It's why I always say, like, as much as I would love to see G.I. Joe, you know, on the big screen and being respected and having all these awesome films, it's almost just not worth it because eventually they're going to come for that too. You know what I mean? So, sad reality of where we are.
Tomok for $20. Did you guys hear that Sony may be planning on to start selling games in parts? Jeremy, I DM'd you the story on Twitter. Selling games in parts.
Selling game. I have not heard that. I'll have to check it out, Tomok. I didn't see your message, but I'll check it out.
You mean like the way they released Final Fantasy VII? Is that what you mean?
Maybe. I know that story about them not allowing resale games did not turn out to be legit. I know RGT85 made an update on that. But you know, because people were asking me about that, and I was like, I don't think that's true, and it turned out to not be true. Now that one, I'm not saying that one's not true. I'll just have to look into it.
B Barrett for $2. Can you confirm something for me? I heard Bob Iger P's sitting down. Is this true? I can't confirm it, but I'll just say yes. Ministry of Wrong Thing for $10. The irony of Jonathan Majors I'm Martin Luther King videotapes is that was unironically the most accurate, intimidating, self-righteous supervillain Kang speech possible. Yeah. I guess he's got a lot of time to work on his craft now. He won't be he's got a lot of time to practice since he won't be working much. Goji the King, member for 5 months. Zac Efron was trained for the movie by Chavo Guerrero Jr.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. So
East Coast Toasty Boy, member for 5 months. Are companies not allowed to be their own companies anymore? Can they not just stay indie and owning themselves? Tired of these merger monopolies.
They can, but everybody wants more. Everybody wants more and more and more. So, so that's the reality of it.
Well,
like, go ahead.
For a lot of times it happens for a couple different reasons, right? It might happen with somebody sees like opportunities to do something with this group, and you can like really be great in the sum of your parts. Other people, it is out of desperation, right? It's like, we've got so much debt, we don't have enough cash flow, but we have a lot of big properties and IPs that we think over the course of time can be very valuable to somebody. So then you get a bigger company to come in and be like, okay, we'll take on a lot of this debt, we'll take on a lot of this risk, but we have this high upside. And sometimes it works better than others.
Yep.
Jay's sweet and innocent childlike racism for $2. Breaking news: Eric July buys Warner and Paramount. Hey, it happened. There we go. Ushbala for $5. Jeremy, if superhero fatigue did exist, what would it look like? I don't know how you would distinguish that from what's happening now.
It would look like Star Wars. It would look like, but of course, Star Wars is the representative of bad movies too and bad stuff. So I don't like, what is superhero fatigue? Like, I mean, superheroes are always relevant. What is your parameter for something not being relevant anymore? I mean, if Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is making almost $900 million at the box office, is that relevant?
It's not that it's not relevant. It's that people are tired of it constantly being in their face. They're tired of 4 Marvel movies coming out every single year. They're tired of 5 Disney Plus series accompanying that. They're burnt out on these stories. Now, it goes both ways, right? If every single one of those stories were fantastic and incredible and like a 10 out of 10, would people be getting as tired of it? Probably not as tired, but I still do think that people, as the MCU builds, and the DCU builds, all of a sudden, like, this story is built off the back of a million other things that you kind of have to have some understanding of to keep track of, these connected universes. I think that's one of the things that people are tired of.
Yeah, I just don't think it's at its core it's superhero fatigue. It's like people thinking that there's going to be video game fatigue at some point in
No,
time.
no.
You know,
That's not what they're not talking about superhero fatigue. Like, it's been 100 years of superheroes and people are finally tired. They're talking about this iteration of superhero movies and entertainment, live action shit. Like, people are tired of that specific thing. And
right.
Iteration.
And my point is if Christopher Nolan announces a Batman movie tomorrow, there's no such thing as superhero fatigue. You're going to see the fucking internet explode with excitement. That's just how it's going to be. That's not to mean it's going to be good. We did see The Dark Knight Rises, and I know that had a lot of problems, but the point being is that people are going to go crazy. If George Lucas, and we know George Lucas is, I'm doing hypotheticals. If George Lucas announces tomorrow that he's taken control back of Star Wars, is Star Wars dead anymore? Like, people are going to go fucking through the roof for Star Wars. Is like, that's the argument they're trying to make for Star Wars right now. Is people, Bob Iger literally said that people were just tired of too many Star Wars movies. Like, do I want that many Star Wars movies every year? No. That was what made Star Wars cool, was the fact that it was an event. But the fact is that's not why Star Wars has become irrelevant. It's because you gave us so much dog shit. That's why it became irrelevant. As if you put Star Wars out there and you do it the right way, people are going to eat it up. If you give us superhero movies and you do it the right way, people are going to eat it up. That's just how it's going to be. This is bad movie fatigue. That's all this is. And I'll stand by that.
So why did Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which was, you think, a 10 out of 10 movie, why didn't that movie make $1 billion?
10 out of 10
or 9 out of 10?
Whatever. 9. Well, I mean, that's a big difference. 9 out of 10 to 10 out of 10. You said
you really like it. You think it's fucking incredible. You think it's the best Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Why didn't it make over $1 billion in isolation?
I never said it was the best Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I said it's the second best Guardians of the Galaxy movie. The point being is that it clearly suffered from all of the other bad movies that's around it.
But if Christopher Nolan's come out, people get excited. George Lucas, people get excited. You got to follow up to James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Like, why didn't that thing take off?
It did take off compared to everything else that came out.
But it still underperformed where we would have expected that to be, and it had 40% fewer people went to see it.
Well, again, why did Batman Begins make fucking $400 million? Because it was coming off of horrible Batman movies, and it had poisoned everybody's mind in terms of like what Batman movies are: hokey, cheesy, goofy, Mr. Freeze. Like, you have to build up towards it. So everybody loves Batman Begins, but it only made like $400-500 million at the box office, and Spider-Man was crushing it around that time. You know what I mean? Like, so why did Batman Begins only make $500 million? Well, because
it's the start of a new franchise, basically.
Exactly. But the point being is that Spider-Man was crushing it at that time. So why was Batman struggling with Batman Begins? I mean, it's not like people dislike Batman Begins. It's because people were soured on Batman because of Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. So you had to work up towards it. Guardians of the Galaxy, I think everybody believes it should have made $1 billion. And if you look at every metric online that we run by, I mean, the audience score, not even the verified audience, the all audience score for Guardians, I think we said it was like 92%. People loved it, but the Marvel Cinematic Universe has tainted the whole entire Marvel experience right now. So even something like Guardians suffered because of everything going on with bad movie fatigue.
Kaliki Oki says they thought it was a continuation of Batman and Robin. Who in the world would think the name Batman Begins would be a continuation of Batman and Robin? What are you talking about? There's not a single person in the world who thought that.
Yeah, like, where was the superhero fatigue when Spider-Man No Way Home came out?
Yeah, well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's going to take from now on, there's no longer going to be the the Captain Marvels of the world, right? Which people get tricked into seeing because it like you got to be part of this, you got to follow along with this. There's no longer going to be these massive successes that they have that aren't really deserving. It's going to take event level movies like a Spider-Man, like a Deadpool movie. Potentially you might see a similar kind of thing with that. I don't think it's making Spider-Man numbers, but in terms of those are the only like big
Well,
superhero movies that I think are going to
exactly. I
draw
mean,
people these days because people are tired of all the other shit involved.
they're
Not
not.
just the quality, but tired of like they're not going to take a chance on characters that they don't know because they're tired of these franchises.
It's not that they're tired of. When's the last time we had a Superman movie come out or a Batman movie? Batman, Robert Pattinson Batman. Okay,
Batman,
so, right, and it did good. It did good. It didn't do great, but it did fine. You know what I mean?
It did well. It did pretty fucking good considering
Yeah.
when it released was still in the like a lot of like restrictions for COVID still.
Yeah.
And China was almost like completely shut down still, all this shit. It did pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And I think a benefit it had was being disconnected.
Well,
You know?
it benefit it has was it was Batman, and a lot of people liked like how the approach was. Even a lot of people that were
Well, okay. Well, hold on. You literally just made an argument about how like Batman was like not well received and all this shit. We've had some pretty like people were very disappointed in what they saw with Batman v Superman, right? That's the last like standalone Batman thing, not standalone, but the last Batman thing we had in the theaters
no.
before
That's
the
not true.
Batman.
That's not true because the Snyder Cut did come out in theaters, but it came out to massive praise.
Came out
The
on
Snyder
streaming.
Cut,
It came out on
doesn't
streaming
matter.
and did
People like the Snyder
respectable
Cut.
things.
People
Okay,
liked it.
that has nothing to do with why people like went to see the Batman.
I mean, the point being
Dude.
is that the Batman did okay at the box office. Did it not? It did okay. It did fine.
It did really. I think it did really well considering the circumstances.
It
Yeah,
did pretty good. It did
so,
pretty good.
like what $750 million worldwide.
Yeah. So my point
Yeah.
being is that most of the superhero movies in the past several years have not been built around the top tier superheroes. It's been around second and third rate fucking characters. Most of them. Doctor Strange. All right, Doctor Strange. Everybody knows who Doctor Strange is. He's not a top tier character. Captain Marvel, Black Panther, all this other like these are not top tier characters. They're just not. All the superhero movies we have coming out are not about Batman and Superman and Wolverine, and Spider-Man and all of that. They're just not. That's just the reality of it. If you focus around the people that the characters people care about, people are going to come to the movies and watch it if the movie is at least decent. They just are. And that's not what's happening.
Yeah, I think it just goes a little beyond that. I think when you have the reality is it's not one thing or another, right? It's not just that you've had some really bad movies. It's also the fact that you're constantly getting spammed with it, that every week Marvel's releasing something, whether it's on Disney Plus or in the theaters, that does make it less special inherently. And then also you combine that with the fact that a lot of these have been so bad lately. Now, before you could put out something bad and it would still do really well in the MCU. There's bad movies that made a lot of money for them. You know what I mean? Because of the hype and energy surrounding it. But all of these things combined have led us to where we are. It's not just one thing or another.
Well, I mean, like I said, if superhero fatigue is a thing, somebody needs to tell Eric July. Because it's clear that there's people out there that are looking for superheroes for the right reasons. And Eric, with no major backing, with just a brand new universe, has become a multimillionaire in a year, from nothing to a multimillionaire based off superheroes. But superhero fatigue must be a real
as
thing.
I explained to you before, when people say superhero fatigue, they're not talking about the existence of superheroes themselves. They're talking about the current like TV and movie entertainment landscape.
Bad movies and bad movie fatigue. Then that's my argument. It's bad. If you do it good, people will come see it. It's that simple.
Grizzly Nightmare for 10. Warner Brothers has the rights to Hanna-Barbera and has done nothing with that IP. Pirates of Dark Water movie would be amazing if done right. I know Jay would be down for it. Fear the Tardo for 10. Great news. Tardo finished George Orwell's 1983. We'll have review for F&T tomorrow. Hope Cottage Division like Crispix
Is that
present.
Is that Fear the Tardo?
Yeah. Merry Crispix to all, and to all a lock it in. Yay. Thank you. Orozco for $1 says, "Are you retarded?" Thank you. Taryn the Black, member for 6 months. Jeremy, this Star Ocean 2 remake's pretty good. You might want to try it.
I've heard that, actually. I've heard that.
Marcus Guchar, member for 2 months. You can be fatigued by a specific thing, say Spider-Man Zendaya, really by a broader theme in which the specific thing resides in. Boogeyman for 5. Superman and Batman come public domain in 2034 and 2035. I hope someone will make a better movie than Warner Brothers. Kenny Justice for 5. Did you see Gundam creators say Disney is trash and warns anime manga creator not to follow the path they did?
Yep, he wasn't necessarily talking about like identity politics or anything like that. He was talking about animation and just how lazy they've become. And but I was glad to see it. But I think a lot of people thought he was talking about wokeness and all of that, and he was worried about the anime industry going in that direction. But Disney has become incredibly lazy with their art and their storytelling. Incredibly lazy.
Sir Hat for 2. Game of Thrones didn't suffer from Game of Thrones fatigue. No, but with what they want to do now, they're talking about doing potentially, they've got 8 or 9 spin-off shows in development from Game of Thrones. And if you start putting out one of those every 3 months, people could start getting a little tuned out of it.
I think if it's good, like you guys love House of the Dragon, and everybody thought House of the Dragon was going to come out and just be a fucking dud because of how bad Game of Thrones was in the end, and House of the Dragon came out and was phenomenal. If House of the Dragon came out and was shit, everybody would be like, well, Game of Thrones died. There was no way they could overcome it. And it's just more, it was good. So people liked it. So
yeah, but there's a reason a lot of people are asking Marvel to fucking like take a break, asking Star Wars to take a break, right?
Because
take a break,
reset,
take the time. Well, no, that's part of it, right? But there's a reason that people want them to take a fucking break, period, right? Reset everything, take a fucking 2 or 3 year break, and come back and reset the MCU.
But none of that will fix anything if you still have the same people in power. This is not a matter of it's a matter of bad people in positions of power making bad decisions. That's what it comes down to. So if you take 5 years off and you come back with fucking weirdos with pronouns in their bio, nothing's going to get fixed.
Well, 100%. But that's like a different thing that I'm talking about. When you have think about this. For the first year of Disney Plus, right, when they rolled it out with all these Marvel shows that they had something new from Marvel releasing every single week, whether it was theatrically or on Disney Plus. And one of the things that does is fucking degrade the quality, because everyone's fucking stretched so fucking thin trying to get all this shit out. And also, it's to the point where, man, you can't get excited. You can't get hyped. There's like no space to get excited or hyped for something anymore.
I agree. I'm not.
And my argument would be like, even if everything was really good, even if everything that were coming out was really good, people would get a little bit tired of it. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I don't know if there's any data to support that. As long as you're coming out with bangers, people are going to support it. I mean, Nintendo's been successful for 40 years. They've never, and guess when they weren't successful? When they brought the shitty Wii U. Like, everybody says Nintendo can just shit something out and their audience is going to eat it up. Well, look at the Wii U. That's not the case. It's just not. Nintendo is not, they're not going to just give you dog shit and it's going to be successful. The Wii U is the biggest failure in video game history, probably. But I thought Nintendo fans would just buy it up no matter what. It's just not the case, man. It's just not. The Wii U sold 13 million units, bro. 13 million. That is a colossal failure in every sense of the word. So if you give a bad product, the market's not going to support it. It's just not going to happen.
Like Call of Duty?
Well, people are enjoying Call of Duty, though. I hate it, but people like it. I mean, Okay, when I say I hate it, I hate it because of the Nick Merckx thing. I liked Modern Warfare 2. I liked Vanguard. I'm on record saying I liked Vanguard. Everybody's telling me how terrible fucking Vanguard was. I played Vanguard. I liked Vanguard. I liked Black Ops Cold War. So don't sit there and tell me I didn't like them. I don't like what they've done with the Nick Merckx situation, but I enjoyed more of the recent games. Now, people are complaining about it, a lot of the hardcores, but it's selling like fuck. This is why they don't change it. It's why Madden doesn't change.
Madden doesn't change either, even though the audience hates it.
Absolutely. 100%.
People keep buying it.
Absolutely. So people, they still are enjoying Call of Duty.
Wartooth for 2. The Reacher guy hates his audience. Stop watching. No, I don't think I will. Desirius for 5. If they hadn't leaked Toby and Andrew being in the movie, I don't think people would have cared about No Way Home. I certainly think it was strategic, and I think it was great marketing for them to do it.
Hell yeah.
Because yeah, I agree.
Well,
and in retrospect, like going back, I watched that again recently, and it's like the movie's not as good.
It's not.
It's like a 6 or something. You know what I mean?
100%. It's magic when they're on screen together. It's magic. But the most of that movie's not really about that. You know what I mean? But it is magic when they're on screen together. The screen. It's incredible. But yeah, the movie itself is, I don't know. It's a fine movie.
It's an event. It's an event. That's why it made that much money.
Yeah.
Let's see. Now, you know what I would argue is that if every fucking year we had a movie with those 3 together, it'd probably be diminishing returns, even if it was the same quality, because it wouldn't be as special to people.
Well, I mean, are you talking like what did No Way Home do? $2 billion?
$2 billion, yeah.
I don't think you're getting a $2 billion film. Are you going to consistently get a $800-900 million film with Spider-Man in it if it's just a competent movie? What did Spider-Man 3? Didn't Spider-Man 3 do good? The Andrew Garfield one? Spider-Man 3 did good.
Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man? Yeah, Spider-Man 2, I'm sorry. Spider-Man 3 with Andrew Garfield. Spider-Man 2 did good, right? The Amazing Spider-Man?
Spider-Man, or hold on. You talking about Spider-Man 3 with Toby?
No. I'm sorry. I'm saying The Amazing Spider-Man 2, I'm sorry.
The Amazing Spider-Man 2 did really good in the first one.
But it still did good.
I mean, like 600 million probably is my guess. Somewhere around there.
I think it made more than that.
Amazing Spider-Man 2 700 million.
Yeah, so I mean it's a like I didn't see Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I didn't see it, but it did well. I mean, those are good numbers.
I actually watched it recently. I watched it pretty recently, and I liked it more than I liked it originally. I don't know if that's just because
I've never seen it. I hated The Amazing Spider-Man, so I hated that movie, and so I refused to watch The Amazing Spider-Man 2. But the bottom line is, Spider-Man, like Spider-Man 2 on PS5 is like the best-selling game of the year, probably. And you know, I know there's a lot of people out there that have problems with it. I stopped playing it because of the Miles Morales bullshit, but Spider-Man just sells because there's no such thing as superhero fatigue. Why is Spider-Man 2 the best-selling game of the fucking month when it comes out in the biggest industry on the planet, video games?
Spider-Man 2?
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to make as much as the first one?
That's going to be a tall hill to climb because the first one sold like 30 million copies, which is fucking retarded. So, but the PlayStation install base is essentially the same as the PlayStation 4. But I don't know, man. I don't know if the bottom line is it's still going to, I don't know how many it's sold now, but it's probably over halfway there, which is stupid. It's probably sold 15 million copies already, which is fucking insane. Like by every metric, that is a monumental success. And we're calling superhero fatigue when Spider-Man 2 is selling 15 million copies. No.
All right. I don't want to talk about this anymore just because we have a lot of other shit to get to today. And I don't want to
run late. My voice is
gone. All right, let's talk about this. Speaking of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you would think that at some point these people would learn failure after failure, a 15-year low point in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And after the credit scene for the Marvels, when we saw Kamala Khan do her best Nick Fury impression and looked like she was going to assemble a team, it looked like they were setting up the young female Avengers, which would have been obviously an absolute nightmare. But you would think that in the aftermath of her show being the worst rated one in terms of audience, right? The worst ratings for the Disney Plus Marvel series. And of course, the Marvels being the biggest box office disaster we've ever seen in history. You'd think that they'd realize that's probably a bad idea. However, this is Marvel. A Young Avengers movie is reportedly in the works at Marvel Studios. Now, this is via Scooper Daniel RPK, so some of those are hit or miss. But everyone's immediate reaction is essentially the same. Another disaster. Marvel's rumored decision to make a Iman Vellani-led Young Avengers movie after the Marvels causes outrage. Think about this, Jeremy. After the MCU and the failure of the MCU, how about we have a Miss Marvel, a female Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, a Cassie Lang, Ant-Man's daughter, a America Chavez from Multiverse of Madness, Riri Williams, black female Ironheart, right? Imagine they team up together, and I think it'll break records because certainly it'll make less money than the Marvels did.
Oh my God, man.
But holy shit, if they actually did this, it will be a nightmare.
Well, we're at the point where I when I hear these, like years ago, when I would hear these stories, I would get angry. I would get frustrated. Now I want it to happen. I want them to make these, just continue to make these bad decisions, continue to give people these dog shit characters and watch it fail miserably and prove everybody right. Prove every single person right on YouTube. Prove all of the toxic fans out there right. So I personally am hoping that this happens. I want to see this happen. I want to see it because the reactions, the numbers, it's going to be glorious. And this would do worse than the Marvels. There's no way they're going to do this, though. You would think. There's no way, dude.
Bro, they set it up at the end of the Marvels. You had a couple of the actors. You had a couple of the actors like making TikToks like about like teasing about Kevin Feige green lighting in it, stuff like this. I don't see any way with all the changes they're going through and the people they've hired and fired. I don't know how they would go through with it unless they figured they're already like so committed to like whatever they're setting up. Some people thought maybe it would be a Disney Plus series. Now reportedly it's a movie, but this would be a fucking nightmare. The young female Avengers would be a disaster.
God, it really would. I mean, again, there's a reason we didn't get a Ghostbusters 2016 part 2. You know what I mean? There's a reason why that never happened. And because ultimately, as much as Hollywood wants to tell you it's about representation and diversity, it's about making money. And when something doesn't make money, they can't move forward with it. We have hit the bottom of the barrel with the Marvels. Like when it's worse than Ryan, the most negative man on the internet, thought, we're in bad shape. You know what I mean? Because none of us thought it was going to hit 200. What is the final? Are we at the final tally for the Marvels right now?
It's still sitting at like 199 something. But again, I don't think that includes the more recent week's international numbers because Disney wasn't reporting those anymore.
So is it still officially at 199?
I think that's what it says.
The last I saw was 203, I thought.
Oh, okay. May have updated somewhere then.
I thought maybe I'm wrong about that. I was hoping it would stay at 199, and that would have been perfect for us to grift off for sure. But I feel like I saw like 203 or 204.
Okay, I see 204 now. So
So man, that would have been perfect. It would have finished at 199. But so you look at that, and I just can't, with all the problems that Disney's facing right now, with all of the heat that Bob Iger's facing, with all of the pressure with the board, with the failure of the Marvels, with the failure of pretty much everything that they have done this year outside of Guardians, which still I can't even classify as a success, really. It barely, is there any discussion if it even did make money? There is some discussion if Guardians even made a profit, right?
So the most kind of charitable look at it says it may have made about $20 million in profit.
Which really isn't a profit. Yeah, for this type of money. You know what I mean? And so literally everything that they have put out this year has been a massive flop, a massive disaster. So having this, lining up to this, I personally want to see it. I don't think that it will happen. I don't think that you can actually push this forward and expect anything other than another $300 to $400 million loss. I just can't see it happening.
Yeah, they get thinking about doing that. They better fucking rethink it. 'Cause that's going to be a nightmare for them. Let's see. Vault 95 Survivor for one. A problem with Dark Knight Rises that it was used to push the idea that Occupy Wall Street was bad. Thank you.
I mean, like I said, I enjoy a lot of the Dark Knight Rises, but you can't deny there's a ton of problems in that movie that aren't in the other movies. It's really some cringeworthy stuff in that movie.
Default for 10. Do you guys wipe sitting down or standing up? Oh man, you're assuming I wipe. Just everyone just comes out clean. I got a great diet. Dan Vass gifted 20 memberships.
What?
Is that real?
Why? Dan Vask?
That's what it says.
It's really Dan as a check mark. What the fuck is going on? This was when we were arguing. Dan, what? Did somebody hack him?
Maybe.
Dan, I did a poll.
Maybe it's just like he only had to spend Brazilian money. Maybe he's screwing us.
Dan, I put a poll up on CobraCast. Who was going to hit 1 million first? You or Gary? Gary won 70% to 30%. What do you got to say about that, Dan?
He's actually put out that Christmas song.
I know. What do you got to say about that, Dan?
That's going to be like, that'll be the decision, right? That'll change everything. That's 20 cents.
Yeah, so Gary won 70% to 30%. So shout out to Dan. Dan, we brought bragging rights back on Tuesday night's main event. It was an impromptu bragging rights. Everybody wants bragging rights back. Everybody. So it looks like we got to make this happen after the new year, Dan. Everybody's asking for it.
Wax the Dolphin for 10. X-Men or X-Women going to save the world from incels. Maybe. Lord of the Reef for 5. Isom is objectively mid, but I like the idea of the Rippaverse, even if he thinks I'm a white bread ass nougat. Well, thank you, Lord of the Reef. E1337 Neo for 5. At least the Wii U did better than the Virtual Boy.
Yeah. But when you look at what it's sandwiched between with the Wii selling 100 million, the Switch selling 130 million, and then you got the Wii U sitting there at 13 million. Holy shit, man.
It sounded like a DLC.
Well, it was marketing. So again, I want to clarify. I thought the Wii U was a really good system. I thought that Nintendo's arrogance is what got in the way of it. And they didn't understand their audience because they felt like everybody that bought the Wii would just go out and buy the Wii U. The problem was 90% of the people that bought the Wii were not gamers. It was just a bunch of fucking normies, a bunch of fucking grandmas, retirement homes, family gatherings. So the people that bought the Wii were not going to go out and buy the next Wii. They just weren't going to do it. It was never going to happen. So, but I did like the Wii U.
Kaleki Oki for 2. Love the banter and conversation between you two. Thank you.
Oh, we argued, Ryan. It must be over. Geeks and Gamers is over. Friday Night Fights is over. We had an argument. Oh my God.
I'm not coming back tomorrow. Golden Nuggets for 5. How much money do these lunatics have to lose before they get the message? The answer is all of it. East Coast Toasty Boy for 2. So Hugo Chavez and Manega fans. Wow. Thank you. Goji the King for 10. They need to double down. Lady Avengers needs to have $800 million budget. Recast a female Nick Fury and put it in space. They meet female Silver Surfer and Trans Galacticus. Let's see. Bury this in the trash. Thank you. Tyler Harris for 20. What are y'all's thoughts on Echo? I saw a trailer trying to draw the audience with the sublight TVMA. Refuse to watch that trash, so Daredevil shines in a show that he's second in. Already ruined Kingpin. Who next? Echo's going to be a nightmare. I actually think the trailer's been good for it, but the movie itself or the show itself is going to be a fucking dumpster fire, which is why they're releasing it all at once. Drop it and hope people forget about it. East Coast Toasty Boy for 2. Dan reached into his savings for that one. Yeah. Gary's beard dingleberries for 5. I'm so comfortable today. Must be the work of our black janitor, or is it the purple haze he sold me? Thank you. One last thing that we have to talk about is what kind of was making the rounds yesterday from Netflix, Jeremy. I don't know if you saw this,
I don't
but
think I've seen this.
there's a reason that Disney's had so many problems with keeping families, going to the parks or watching their stuff, because quite frankly, families don't trust Disney anymore. Then they can sit down their kids in front of Disney Plus or whatever, take them to a movie, and that they're not going to get indoctrinated. Well, something recently on Netflix caught the eye of some people that shows they might have similar problems very soon. Popular kids show Coco Melon Lane features boy in a tutu and a tiara dancing for 2 gay dads.
I did hear about this.
I don't know how you missed this yesterday.
Yeah, I did hear about this.
So here it is. New Coco Melon Lane on Netflix has a boy in a dress dance for his 2 gay dads. Coco Melon is the most popular show for babies and toddlers age 2. Now, Coco Melon is on YouTube. This is Coco Melon Lane, which is like a spinoff that got bought by Netflix or something. So
first of all, I want to tell everybody, and you can't find it on YouTube. You could probably find it on Rumble or Odyssey if you search it out. But PewDiePie made one of the best songs ever dissing Coco Melon. It's the best video. The video was phenomenal. YouTube took it down for harassment and bullying and gave him a strike. I think it had like 10 million views in a day. And this is all him, like, basically the same thing he did with T-Series, you know what I mean? And when Coco Melon was on their rise. So if you go over and search, I can't remember the name of I'm sure the chat's going to say it, but if you search PewDiePie band video, but it might be Coco. I think it's Coco is the name of the song. It's amazing. But anyway, go ahead.
Here we go. Now, the whole premise is they're about to go take pictures, and the little boy doesn't know what to wear. So they're saying, just be you.
Thing that we know about you. You love to get up and dance. How about you break out those moves for your 2 biggest fans?
These are his dads, by the way. His gay interracial dads. Here on Netflix.
I want to die. I want to die right now.
Maybe you are trans, Jeremy. It's already rubbing off on you.
I want to die. I just end it right now. Fuck. I've seen this. I heard about this. I haven't seen this.
All right.
Well, yeah. We may get a copy. That's
why I'm pausing it.
Yeah, we may get hit on this because, because this is the big. I think Coco Melon is the biggest YouTube channel on the platform.
This is on Netflix. So this is a spinoff on Coco 100%. Melon Lane. So.
Yeah. Oh my God. Dude. This is awful. This is awful.
It is. It gets worse.
It gets worse.
Kind of. Just what they start saying to him.
If you're not sure what to choose, think about all the things you like to do. Just be you.
Just be me.
Just be me. Should I take the tiara or what's normally for boys, gay dads? Please tell me.
Yep. When you're trying to decide, think about all the things you like to do. Just be you.
Just be me.
Getting some positive affirmation from his gay dads to wear whatever he feels comfortable in, including a tiara and a tutu.
Holy crap. Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. I'd heard about this, but this is insane, dude. This is insane. So the backlash has probably been pretty swift, I'm imagining.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of people talking about it. Yeah, I mean, Coco Melon is like I've never seen a fucking glimpse of it. I have no idea what it is. I know it's mega popular though, right? I know
is that the baby shark stuff?
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay, so the girls used to sing this Baby Park song when we played Mario Kart, okay? Yeah. And I was like, well, damn, that's kind of catchy, girls. We should monetize that. And then people are like, no, Jeremy, it's literally it's literally a play off of the Baby Shark song. I'm like, what's the Baby Shark song? I look it up. Baby Shark's like the biggest fucking video
Yeah,
in YouTube history.
And that's been around a long time. Yeah. So
I'd never heard it. I'd never heard it. I thought the girls just came up with a really good jingle. I had no idea.
You're like, that's so creative.
Dude, I was like, that's really creative. Maybe we should do something with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Baby Shark's been a thing for a long ass time.
I've never heard
yeah. Way before Coco Melon even. But yeah, that's like obviously Netflix is getting blasted for that, and rightfully so. Like this is how you lose your families, right? This is how you lose your families, just like Disney did when you see shit like this.
Yeah, no, this is next level. Like this is beyond insane. Everything we've been saying about the agenda and the indoctrination of children, they deny it, and then they blatantly go out there and do it and put it right in front of your faces, all while denying that it's happening. Media is broken. Entertainment is broken. And this is why we need to continue to have voices out there calling this shit out. And that's what we're going to continue to do. Absolutely insane.
All right. Edward Morris for 5. Just out of curiosity, have you guys been watching Invincible season 2? Another superhero related IP that's doing good right now despite fatigue. I've heard some interesting things about season 2. But yeah, I'm not watching it at all.
I never watched
a single episode.
I know a lot of people liked the first season of Invincible. I haven't seen it yet. So, but
Tobias Nexus for 5. As bad as the original movie was, I would have accepted only one black man as Kingpin. Michael Clark Duncan was the best part of that movie. R.I.P. Alicia Baker for $2. The white dad is Seth Rogen. Kind of looks like him.
Does look like Seth Rogen.
East Coast Toasty Boy for 5. I have the perfect casting for Galactus. Lizzo. She's larger than the solar system and eats everything, on top of being race and gender swapped. Golden Nuggets for 2. Why are they gay? Well, because it's Netflix, I guess. Let's see. Sparta Chris for $20. When they make the live action Coco Melon movie, will D-Day Cobra play the black dad with magic powers like the American Society of Magical Nougat? Since he's black from the waist down. Ryan playing the white dad. 3PO your son? Maybe.
Hey, I have been saying this. I've been saying it. Illumination reportedly wants to create a Nintendo cinematic universe. The studio shared a pitch with Nintendo that would evolve into a Super Smash Bros. Film. This is what I kept saying. And I'm not the only one that said it, by the way. So I'm not acting like I was the only one that was saying it. But this is what I kept saying. This would be the perfect template right here to start out with the Super Mario Brothers movie. And then now I know they're coming up with the live action Zelda. I'm not sure how that's going to, tie into all of this, but my initial idea was the next movie should be Zelda or a sequel to Super Mario. And then you continue to build. I know a lot of people want a Metroid movie. And look, man, I love Metroid. Metroid Dread is one of my favorite games of all time. Metroid doesn't have the pull that people want to believe that it does. Unfortunately, Metroid just doesn't sell that well. Like it just doesn't.
Female led.
Yeah, it just doesn't sell. But it's good though. I don't know if Metroid can hold its own film with Samus. I would love to see it, but the numbers don't support that would be a thing. Obviously, Zelda and Mario would be a thing. I think Star Fox would be incredible to see on live action. I'm not sorry, in animated form on the big screen. But ultimately, all leading towards a Super Smash Bros. Film. Ryan earlier said it, and I tend to agree with what he said. We're not really going to see an event like we did with the Avengers. If this is done right, this leads us to an Avengers-style Super Smash Bros. Movie, which would be incredible. Holy crap. So
the thing that throws a wrench in it from me is this live action.
Yes,
Zelda.
Agreed.
To me, and I'm not surprised there's rumors out there because everyone's been talking about how cool that would be. So sometimes that's how these rumors get started by people.
Yep.
But when they came out and announced live action Zelda, that really threw things through a loop for me because it's like, are they really going to do a live action Zelda and an animated Zelda? And you know what I mean? They're on the same time frame.
Yeah.
I don't know. And it seemed like that had been in the works for a long time.
Yeah, Miyamoto just randomly on Twitter one day on the Nintendo account, like, "Hey guys, Miyamoto here. Been working on a live action Zelda for 3 years. Have a great day." Like, wait, what?
Yeah.
It's the most Nintendo thing I've ever seen, by the way. But yeah, so anyway, that story's out there. We will continue to follow that, obviously, but I'm interested. And to me, we are kind of at that point where video game content is probably going to take over Hollywood, which is probably not a good thing for video game content in the long run. But at least Nintendo has shown us that, they are going to keep control of their IPs. They're going to keep control of their characters. And they're going to have final say when it comes to this stuff. And overall, Illumination, I think, has done a pretty good job with a lot of their animated movies. So I guess we'll see how this all plays out. But that's pretty big news right there.
Yep. Let's see. A feline named Vijay for 8 months. The CIA and Army got in trouble for torturing prisoners with Baby Shark played on loop 24/7. Sly Noodle member for a month. I was singing Baby Shark 30 years ago at summer camp, including verses like Lost a Leg that are missing from the latest version.
Has it been around that long?
Yeah, like I remember it when I was.
I've never heard.
I don't know
Baby
about growing
Shark,
up,
dude.
but yeah.
How have I never fucking heard this?
You're a little older. I don't know.
That's weird.
LBO. I don't. Lowbox 81. Lbox 81. Lbox for $10. Just want to say Merry fucking Christmas to G&G and Hail Chat. Thank you, Lbox. Retro Meister for 11 months. Jamie, it's not superhero fatigue. It's woke fatigue in general, which includes video games and TV shows. Also, video game movies and the new superhero flicks like Sonic and Mario, along with anime.
Yep.
And I think we're all caught up.
All right, guys. So, a lot going on today. A lot of movies to watch, a lot of shows to watch, a lot of things to catch up on. We got Friday Night Tights tomorrow on Nerdrotic channel, so make sure you check that out for all of our discussion on Rebel Moon and Aquaman and the Iron Claw and Reacher. I guess you and Gary are going to do your Reacher and Reach review. So yeah, we got a lot to cover.
So, yeah.
A lot to cover. So we appreciate you guys. Have a great day. If we don't see you, some of you, until after Christmas, Merry Christmas. Hope you have a great Christmas with your family and your friends and eat a lot of food and have a lot of fun. Merry Christmas to everybody out there, except for Dan Vask. You guys have a good day. We'll talk to all of you later. Bye, everyone.